What's a hot take you have that you wouldn't dare say in real life? That we keep people alive longer than we should. We should be focused more on comfort care and letting people go with dignity. Forcing a 98-year-old to suffer through a full code is, in my eyes, torture. And even if they live, the quality of life is horrible for the few days to months at best they have left. But say that and people look at you funny. Society is so scared of death, they can't understand that sometimes it's better than the alternatives. My grandmother died at 99. She was fully in charge of her mental faculties and fully ambulatory physically right up until she died. She probably read 24 biographies the last year of her life. But at 98, she was ready to go. Openly said she was tired and ready to die and wondered why it was taking so long. My great-grandmother said nearly the same exact thing. She told my dad that her wish was to make it to 100. On her 100th birthday, we threw her a nice party at her nursing home. She grabbed my dad's face, pulled him down, and whispered in his ear, "I'm ready for God to take me home now." Passed 6 months later in her sleep. But not before asking my dad why it was taking so long, and slept a lot of the time. It's crazy to me that it's possible to reach a state of mind where you feel fully accomplished and just done with life. You have nothing else you care about and nothing else you want to do. I hope to be there one day so that I can go without too much regret. Most Salt Life Paul are just alcoholics near water. Super niche and accurate. Brutal honesty is bullshit. Learn communication skills. Your words can be diplomatic, compassionate, and still honest. Simon Sinek had a great point about this. You should be honest, but you don't need to tell someone about something in that instant. He gave the example of watching a play his friend was in. He thought it was terrible and couldn't wait for it to end. After the show, he met her backstage. She was still in costume, and she was visibly very happy and excited. "What did you think?" she asked him. He explains that he could tell her that he thought the play was god-awful and couldn't wait for it to end, crushing her happiness and excitement. But that would be cruel. Instead, something else that was true. "It was a real treat to come see you perform and do what you love," he replied. Still 100 true and answers the question, but is a kind thing to say, as the alternative would simply be mean. He then called her up the next day, or a while after, I forget which, and gave her his honest feedback and criticism, which was well received. People hide behind the "sorry, I'm just being honest," or "I'm a brutally honest person," and it's like, no, you're just an asshole. Most of the time, people just want to be recognized, acknowledged, appreciated, or simply just seen. And it means the world when someone gives you that instead of jumping straight into critique. If you care about someone, give them the recognition instead of trying to be a critic. You're their friend or their loved one or their family, not a reviewer. Your actual feedback is likely going to be bullshit anyway, since you won't be an expert. Tact is the ability to tell someone to go to hell in such a way that they look forward to the trip. The ability to tell someone to go to hell and then looking forward to the trip was termed as Irish diplomacy by my grandparents and uncles when I was younger. Don't victim blame. You shouldn't victim blame, but be aware of your situations. Some people sleepwalk into easily avoidable situations. Eat it. Corrected to the words I was meant to use. Responsibility can add or multiply, but it doesn't subtract or divide. Responsibility is not some fixed sum that has to be carefully doled out. It is possible for multiple people to be independently responsible for something, even if they didn't intend to cause it, or if it isn't reasonable to assume something would happen. Saying that someone carries a degree of responsibility for getting mugged because they walked into an alleyway in the middle of the night doesn't mean there's less responsibility on the mugger. Sometimes you can blame the victim. Allow me to explain. You put your most expensive watch, your most eye-catching suit, you wear gold rings and a bracelet, you stuff your pockets with $100 bills, and then drive your expensive car to the most dangerous neighborhood you know of. You are gonna get shot or robbed. That is your fault. However frivolous or recklessly someone behaves, if someone commits a crime against them, the perpetrator is to blame. It is their fault. Of course, if someone is all but trying to get robbed like in your example, they're a bit of an idiot and should have expected to get hurt. But that doesn't absolve the perpetrator of responsibility. Moral blame and factual causation ain't two different things. Victim can 100 make decisions that increase likelihood of a crime. Agreed. I do think it is the perpetrator's fault, but some people end up in situations which could be easily avoided. A lot of societal issues are actually mental health problems. Sorry, weebs, your obsession with waffles and hot anime chicks is the cringiest thing I can imagine. I used to be really into anime until I realized a surprising amount of it was thinly veiled pipe. I think anime has some of the best shows I've seen and a lot of the worst. I watch it pretty regularly. That said, I try not to engage with the community behind it because, dear Lord, are they F up. Obesity isn't beautiful. Never has been. Never will be. You're not sexy at any size. That's a cope and a very sad one. As someone who is overweight, I've never found obesity to be beautiful. If I tell someone I want to lose weight to look better, they say I'm vain. If I tell them I want to lose weight because my knees are bothering me, that sounds better. I don't see how I'm being vain if I want to look better to myself. Honestly, it's vain for anyone else to tell you that you aren't allowed to get in shape for appearance reasons, likely because you have the strength to do something they don't think they can. I can't walk upstairs. Isn't that so sexy? Did you say eclairs? You just made me cackle and I woke up my snoozing puppy. We need to bring shame back. F yes. Raucous applause. 3 cheers for personal accountability and self-awareness. Whenever life hands you an advantage, you should take it. Good looking? Use it. Smart? Use it. Rich parents? Use it. Inside information? Use it. There are some rules you'll be punished for breaking, but don't sabotage yourself by pretending that whatever unfair advantages you have somehow don't exist. You're not helping anyone that way. The world is unequal. Live your life. Help others up when you can. Take advantage of what you have. Not everyone enjoys having dogs constantly in their space. I used to really like dogs before moving to California. Now I can't stand having them constantly around. On the plane, in the supermarket, at restaurants. My apartment building constantly smells of dog pee. Owners let them run around off leash and jump on you with dirty paws. They shed and leave hairs everywhere. Can't walk the street without having to dodge dog poop. I have friends that insist on bringing their dogs to every event, party, or gathering, and if I request that they don't, it becomes a huge deal. I don't want to always be around dogs. Keep them at home like other pets. I like dogs. I hate dog culture. People are weird about dogs. If one of my friend's dogs starts jumping on me, I will start training it to not do that for attention. Poorly trained dogs aren't cute. They are a menace. So are owners who get dogs that are massive. They can't control. If you're not strong enough to stop your dog from charging even when it's on a leash, you are not strong enough to own that dog. Boys and girls are different. We aren't totally different animals, and I'm not convinced that the male brain and the female brain are really all that different. That doesn't mean we are exactly the same, and I think both sides of that coin are ignorant. Boys don't need the amounts of Rytalin we have prescribed them. We don't need to medicate boyhood. Girls aren't as fragile as people seem to think they are. We don't need to panic every time some study shows us that middle school girls are in crisis. Have you ever met a middle school girl? They are always in some sort of crisis. As a middle school teacher, I disagree with some of your examples, but agree with your point because it's not an opinion but fact. We have different hormones that affect our brains significantly. We're different, and that's okay. It's a spectrum we can overlap on, but we most definitely different. The magnitude of the changes in their bodies is something I need to actually explicitly teach the girls for safety reasons because they're used to being able to throw hands with them, but that has to change at that age. More stories on the channel. RedStore.